It's opening night. And as well, with opening night, it's the Pistons home opener. The same day. It's a day to be excited. There is a bit of bad news. We'll talk about that in today's episode of the Locked On Pistons podcast.
You are Locked On Pistons, your daily Detroit Pistons podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's the deal? Welcome back to another episode of the Locked On Pistons podcast. I'm your host, per usual, Kuka Hill. You can find me over on Twitter at Kuka Hill NBA. You can also find me on YouTube at Locked On Pistons, which, by the way, the last episode is doing absolutely great. If you haven't watched already, we spoke with Detroit Pistons beat writer Rod Beard. It was a great episode. It's doing great. I appreciate all you guys watching it. But you can also find me on my own personal YouTube at Kuz Ballman as well. And again, I want to thank you guys for making Locked On Pistons your first listen of every single day. We are free and available on all of your podcast platforms. And today, like I said, it's the home opener. Not only is it the home opener, it's the opening night for the Pistons season in general. It's a good day. Everyone just be happy. It's time for everyone to be happy and celebrate. Pistons basketball is finally back. However, there is something weighing the mood down. And I'm sure all of you guys know what it is. If you're a Pistons fan at all, if you're following the team at all, if you're following NBA at all, you probably already knew this before listening to this podcast. But for those of you guys who may not know, Cade Cunningham, the Pistons' #1 overall pick, one of the first ones, their first overall pick in the last 50 years. 50 years. That guy, their franchise guy now, he's not playing today. He's missing the first game of the season. Now, I'll say this. I thought that maybe he was going to play. You guys know that I've been saying for the past week that I wasn't worried about him for the home opener. The last podcast, I started to fall back a little bit. I won't say why. I was falling back a little bit. However, I was falling back, thinking that he wasn't going to play. Then he came out with this article for the Undefeated with Marcus Spears. It was kind of like a Players Tribune article where the player is able to write his own article. He writes his own thoughts. It's him talking to us. And in the first paragraph, he says that, opening night's coming. It's October 20th. I can't wait to play my first NBA game. Everyone's going to be there. My family's going to be there. I'm ready to play. My ankle's getting better. I can't wait to play. So I thought that he was going to play. I thought once I saw that, I was like, okay, well, he must know that he's going to play. I got a little bit hopeful again. But then eventually the mood came down, and we have the news that he is officially out today against the Chicago Bulls, which sucks. It really does. I think that's one of the main things, obviously, that everyone was looking forward to seeing from the Pistons. Obviously, it was one of the main reasons why the Pistons have so much interest and so much going on with them in the city again with their fan base, because everyone's excited. They got the #1 overall pick. They got Cade, and everyone's been looking forward to seeing Cade. And the fact that you don't get to see him on opening night, definitely it sucks. It's a stinker a little bit. It weighs down the mood a little bit. There are other things to watch for, which we'll talk about later on in the podcast. However, the fact that Cade's not playing definitely is a damper. And I'll say this. I understand why fans may be mad. I'm personally not going to get mad. It's not that big of a deal. He'll probably be back in the next week or so. I'm not going to keep printing timelines and stuff. But basically, from what we've heard from beat writers now, is that it's supposed to be not that serious, and he could be back. He was day-to-day just like yesterday. So, I mean, he should be back, like you assuming, like the next week or so. But I understand why fans are mad, and this is why right here. If you're watching this on YouTube, you'll see the tweet getting pulled up. If you're not watching on YouTube, you're on the podcast, don't worry about it. I'm going to make sure I still tend to you guys and read it out. But this is an article from a tweet from James Edwards III. This is not his opinion. So don't think I'm trying to come at James. I'm not. This is not his opinion. This is him reporting what was said in a media session. So the very first tweet says, Dwayne said there are some bruises and turned ankles. Cunningham turned his ankle per Casey a few days ago. Very mild. That was the first tweet. James then quoted that tweet. It said, per Casey, nothing serious on Cunningham's ankle. This was October 1st. October 1st, he tweeted that. So we were told that it was not going to be that serious. We were told that it was very mild. We were told that it's not that big of a deal. He'll eventually play. I believe we also Dwayne Casey ended up going on to say that, I'm not worried about him missing the preseason opener. Not only did he end up missing the preseason opener, now he's missing the home opener to the regular season. Again, this was 19 days ago. We are at about 2.5 weeks, a little bit over 2.5 weeks of this. The point is, I understand why fans are mad, because basically, I'm not going to say you were lied to, but definitely it sounds like that you guys were led down a different road from the get-go. They weren't as, what's the word I'm looking for, authentic with you guys from the get-go. They weren't very straightforward with you guys from the get-go about Cade's injury. Or it's either that, or it just simply got worse. Maybe it was just mild. Maybe it was just a little swollen the first day, but then it slowly progressed to get worse. Maybe it wasn't as. Maybe they discovered later on it was worse. But again, like I said, you guys definitely. I feel like everyone was definitely led down to believe that Cade was not really that hurt. It was just like a twisted ankle, like it happens in basketball, and wasn't that big of a deal. And obviously now we're at 19 days later, like I said, and he's not playing in the home opener. We don't know when he's going to play because Dwayne Casey. I was in the media session today, which, by the way, you guys have to give me credit for. I guess I can take this off the screen now for you guys on YouTube. Sorry, but you guys have to give me credit. All my listeners. I understand you guys be giving me some good vibes, even though again, I did get one hateful comment in the Apple podcast. I be getting like one or two of these hateful comments from people. It's crazy, but anyways, you guys gotta give me credit because I was at work. This is not my main job. This is one of my side jobs. My other side job is I'm a delivery driver for Jets. And I work every morning, and that's usually when they have these media sessions. So today was the third day in a row that I've worked in the morning at Jets, delivering pizzas, going inside the restaurant, going out, etc. But I'm also on my phone in the media session, still tweeting out quotes, getting down quotes for you guys, all that. So you guys gotta give me credit, man. I'm getting all this for you guys. Even I'm working 2 jobs at once. You feel me? But anyways, Dwayne Casey said today in that press and in the media session that, he's still day to day. They're not going to put a timetable on it. He can continue to say they're not going to be stupid about it. And, we continue to hear the same things that we've been told. We're not going to put a timetable on it. We're not going to be stupid. We don't know when he's coming back. We don't know. We're not going to rush him back. He'll come back when he's 100%. And really, I don't know. There's nothing else to speculate about. We can't really speculate about anything because we're not being given any kind of detail about when he could possibly come back. All we've been told is that it's not that serious. We were told that 2.5 weeks ago, and he's still not playing. So how serious is it? Actually, I understand why some fans feel the type of way about not being informed or not being told like straightforward what's going on with him, because it definitely does. I can get why some people feel like that there's something. It can't be just not that serious. There has to be something underneath there. There's a reason why it's been 2.5 weeks. He still hasn't played. If it's not that serious, he'd be playing. So I get that. But as of right now, all we can go off of and is assume that Dwayne Casey's telling us the truth. And that we see him partially practicing. Cade has partially practiced the last 2 days. That's good. We were told that he had to get 2 to 3 practices in before he played in a game last week by Dwayne Casey. So this is 2 partially participated practice. The Pistons' next game is on Saturday. So maybe he plays on Saturday. Maybe that happens. He is day-to-day currently, so we'll see what happens. I don't think it's that serious. I still believe that. I still believe what Dwayne Casey's saying. I do believe that it's not that serious, but it definitely, I understand why some fans are hesitant now to believe anything that's being said because they were told 2.5 weeks ago that wasn't that serious and that he was expected to still play in the preseason opener. And not only did he miss the preseason opener in all preseason, he's now missing the first game of the regular season, which sucks. But coming up after the break, we're going to talk about the ripple effect. We talked about that a little bit with Rod Beard on the last episode. Again, it was a great episode. Go check that out if you haven't already. But we're going to talk about the ripple effects of what happens now that Cade Cunningham is not playing this game. What are they going to do with the starting lineup? Is Dwayne Casey going to break up that bench unit that he's been saying that he wants to keep together? If he's going to, he already has that starting lineup that's moving all over the place. He wants to have one unit stick together. But is Cade Cunningham's injury going to even mess up the bench lineup? We'll talk about all that coming up after the break. But first, let me tell you about one of our sponsors. So first up, let me go ahead and tell you guys a little bit about SweatBlock. What's the deal, guys? There are some things in life that you just don't really talk about. Issues in relationship, family problems, or more importantly, sweating through your shirt for no reason when out in public with the boys. Yes, you heard it here first. Everyone's been through it, including myself. But SweatBlock antiperspirant wipes can help you in this department. SweatBlock is doctor created and doctor recommended. You simply apply it at night before bedtime, go to bed, and the next day you wake up and do your normal routine like nothing ever happened. And we even have some stories to tell you about from some loyal Locked On listeners that have tried the product. This one is from a high school teacher. When he'd pit out by the 4th period, he'd hear the snickers and the whispers from the students, the laughters. So he started bringing a second shirt to change in between classes. Then he heard about SweatBlock on our program. He tried it and is now hooked. No more snickers, no more second shirt, and no more laughter from his students. SweatBlock works up for 7 days per use and has a dry shirt guarantee. If SweatBlock doesn't keep you dry, you get your money back. If you or someone you know is dealing with the worst issue in life of sweating through their shirt, tell them about SweatBlock. Get it today for 20% off at sweatblock.com with promo code LOCKEDON or at Amazon and CVS. Get SweatBlock now and stop sweating. So anyways, let's talk about some of the ripple effects that may come because of Cade Cunningham's injury. What's going to happen in the starting lineup now? What's going to happen in the bench lineup? What's the decisions that Dwayne Casey's going to make? So I have a little bit of insight for you guys based off a media session that happened yesterday with Dwayne Casey. Like I told you guys, I was able to make while I was at work again. And by the way, thank you guys for making Locked On Pistons your first listen of every day. We are free and available on all platforms and also on YouTube. If you haven't checked it out already, make sure you go check it out and subscribe to the channel. But last night, I should say, I'm sorry, I'm getting my days confused. Yesterday, Dwayne Casey told us that he had spoke with Kelly Olynyk about possibly playing the 4 next to Isaiah Stewart and trucking out a lineup of Jeremy Grant, Saddiq Bey, and Killian Hayes. Now, I will say he did not specify if he was going to make that the starting lineup. He didn't specify if he was talking directly about the starting lineup. He just simply said he was thinking about having that lineup happen, and he had spoken to Kelly Olynyk about doing it. So whether he makes that the starting lineup, or is that like a closing lineup that he's talking about, or a lineup that he trucks out there, for a large majority of the game, who knows? We don't know what he's talking about, but that is something that you guys can think about, or you guys can chew on. Tell me what you guys think, because he's talking about possibly starting Kelly Olynyk at the 4, maybe as a closing lineup. Who knows? But do I think he's going to start Kelly Olynyk at the 4? No, I don't think that's going to happen. I think he needs Kelly Olynyk as the backup center, at least to start the game. Now, closing lineup, I could see that definitely being the lineup. Give some added needed spacing. The one thing I'm worried about with that lineup is the fact that basically Killian Hayes is the only ball handler in that group, the only playmaker in that group. Everyone else is either a shooter, straight up scorer, not very good at initiating offense, creating offense for others, etc. So it basically would be Killian Hayes creating for everybody else, and it would be a little bit of a struggle, I think, offensively. I think the spacing wouldn't be. I don't think the spacing would make up enough for the lack of creation in that lineup. We'll see, though. Maybe I'm wrong. But what do I think that they're going to do with the starting lineup? So, like I said, we talked about this a little bit on the last episode with Rod Beard from the Detroit News, the Detroit Pistons beat writer. Go check it out if you haven't already. But we talked about it in the last episode, and I'm honestly really interested to see what Dwayne Casey does, because in the preseason, when he was missing one of the starting guards, he started Ryan Magruder in the place so he could keep that bench unit intact. Now, my question is, I understand doing that for a preseason game. Would he do that in a regular season game? Is Ryan Magruder good enough to even start? Even if he only plays like 10 to 12 minutes, would you still start him in a game that actually matters? Would you still go that route and just in the effort to keep your bench unit together? I lean no. I don't think Dwayne Casey would do that. I lean no on that one. However, the next solution, I guess, is that you start one of Hamidou Diallo, Josh Jackson, and Frank Jackson. Now, I can see reason for starting all 3 of those guys, really. Frank Jackson, I think, is the obvious answer here, because he can bring space into the starting lineup. And with Killian Hayes, you need as much spacing as possible in that lineup. You need someone who can shoot next to them so they're not constantly sagging. They can make them pay for sagging if they do, and gives Killian Hayes bigger or wider driving lanes for him to operate with. So he needs spacing in that lineup. So I think Frank Jackson probably is the most likely answer here, and he obviously makes the most sense, I think, right now. But then there's reasons for the other 2 as well. We'll go with Josh Jackson first. Josh Jackson, the reason with Josh is that he's been playing so well in the preseason. Apparently, he had a great training camp. We've been told all training camp that he was great. We were told throughout the preseason games that he was great. We saw him play. He was looking great. So this could be kind of a reward. Like, hey, we're going to reward you for how well you're playing. We're going to start you in the starting lineup. And while he's not a very good shooter, he's still the best player out of all 3 of those guys. So if you simply just want to go with the best player and put him out there, I can understand that as well. And also, in the same time, you're rewarding him as well for how he's played thus far into the preseason in training camp. So I could get that as well, starting Killian, Josh, Saddiq, Jeremy Grant, and Isaiah Stewart. I could get that as well. But then this is the last argument. This is the one that I think is really interesting. It's a little bit of a stretch, and I'm definitely reaching at this one. I think it's fair to say I'm reaching at this one, but I think there's enough there to believe that this is a possibility. So if Dwayne Casey is really set in his way, and I wouldn't blame him, but this is not me criticizing Dwayne Casey. I don't blame him, but if he's really set in his way about wanting to keep that bench unit together, he already has a starting lineup all messed up. He's not able. I don't think they've played their starting lineup at all. Cade got hurt on October 1st. I don't think they've even been able to play at all together. So he's already had to deal with the starting lineup being in and out, influx. This guy's in, this guy's out, this guy's out, this guy's in. Like, he's already had to deal with all that. But the one constant that he's been able to have is that bench unit. So he's been able to build that chemistry and gel that group together. So if he's insistent on keeping it that way and not messing with that bench unit and not adding on to another lineup that's in flux and having to learn a new chemistry, etc., stuff like that. If he doesn't want to do that, then I think Hamidou Diallo is the option here to go at starting shooting guard or starting three, whatever you want to call it. Hamidou Diallo and Sadiq Bey, basically is what I'm saying. And this is why. Because I think Hamidou Diallo right now to start the season, if Cade Cunningham was not playing, I think Hamidou Diallo would be the guy that's out of the rotation. And like we said in the last episode with Rod Beer, I don't think anyone would have really saw that coming before the season. Hamidou Diallo obviously got paid more than Frank Jackson before the season. I think everyone basically penciled in Hamidou Diallo before the season. It was the guy that, he was their big free agent signing, basically. He was their big, I guess not. I guess Kelly Olynyk would be that. But he was their big re-signee. He was the big guy going into free agency that everyone was like, okay, you need to make sure you get this guy back. They brought him back. They paid him more than Frank Jackson. So again, it looked like that he was going to be in the rotation, and he played well for the Pistons last year. Not just for the Pistons either, but for the Oklahoma City Thunder. He had a really good year last year, taking another step in his development. So people thought that, no one really thought that out of all the people, Hamidou Diallo would be the one out the rotation. But if it was starting right now, I think he would be if Cade was out the game. It was in the game, I should say. So with Cade out, if you want to keep that bench unit together of Corey Joseph, Josh Jackson, Frank Jackson, Kelly Olynyk, and Trey Lyles, if you want to keep that unit together without messing them up, then you just take the guy who was out the rotation to start with, which is Hamidou Diallo. You put him in the starting lineup, give him a chance to show that, hey, I should be in the rotation. I can play better than I did in the preseason, because he didn't play that well in the preseason, I don't think. So give him that chance in the starting lineup, give him a chance to prove himself, prove that he needs to be in the rotation, all while so you're really getting two birds with one stone. You're getting Hamidou Diallo a chance to prove that he can be in the rotation, give him a chance to play better than he did in the preseason, and maybe playing with the starters will give him a little bit of a jolt. I don't know. Maybe it does. But also, you're keeping your bench unit together. You're keeping that chemistry going there. You're keeping that second unit being your strongest unit, which Dwayne Casey has said over and over. You're able to keep that unit together and rely on that being your more veteran-heavy group, your comeback group, really, because starters are probably going to dig themselves a hole every now and then a lot this season. And the bench unit is going to be referred to as the comeback group. So he gets to keep that group together while also giving Hamidou Diallo a chance to redeem himself, show that he should be in the rotation and play well. I think that is a really good option as well. If you're asking me which one just is the best one off of fit, I think it's obviously Frank Jackson. I don't think anyone is going to argue differently. I think Frank Jackson obviously fits the best with that starting lineup if Cade's not playing. But again, if Dwayne Casey does not want to break up that bench unit, which I wouldn't blame him if he doesn't, then I think Hamidou Diallo is a good choice. I mean, he could just always go with Ronnie McGruder. I wouldn't love that idea. I'd rather stop or start Diallo. And then also, like I said at the beginning of this segment, he did mention in this media session that he talked to Kelly Olynyk about playing the four next to Isaiah Stewart in a lineup with Sadiq Bey, Jeremy Grant, and Killian Hayes. Now, whether he was talking about a starting lineup, he didn't specify. He just simply talked about that lineup possibly happening. So we'll see what happens. And if that's starting, that's another ripple effect. If Kelly Olynyk let's say he does start Kelly Olynyk at 4 next to Isaiah Stewart with those starting guys. Now Luka Garza is getting minutes. You have to assume that Luka Garza is going to play the backup center spot. Now we get to see more Garza minutes, which I know he's a big fan favorite, and everyone's going to love that. So there's so many different ripple effects that are coming because of Cade Cunningham not playing this opening night, and I can't wait to see how it goes. So I understand that fans are disappointed that Cade's not playing, but there are still a ton of things to see how they play out because of him sitting out. There's tons of things to watch for in this opening night, and I think all those things I mentioned, along with obviously wanting to see if Sadiq plays well, Killian plays well, takes a step forward, all those things. Added on top of all of that, I think there's a lot of things to look forward to tonight against the Chicago Bulls. So, yeah, I'd say still tune in tonight. Still tune in. I know Cade's not playing, but it's the opening night. You haven't had Piston basketball all summer. I know you guys are still excited. So while you guys are down in the dumps about Cade, get back high. Get back high, man. It's opening night. Be happy. Enjoy the game tonight. So when we come back, I'm going to preview the game a little bit, give my prediction of the game. I think everyone knows what the prediction of the game is going to be. But, we'll talk about it when we come back. But before we get into any of that, let me tell you about some of our sponsors. First up, Built Bar. The best tasting protein bar on the planet Earth comes with a variety of flavors, including 6 new flavors in caramel brownie, cookies and cream, cherry barcia, lemon almond, carrot cake, and apple almond crisp. They also have coconut, raspberry, mint brownie, double chocolate, orange, cookies and cream, and German chocolate. And like I showed you guys in the last podcast, I even got myself some Halloween flavors as well. So they keeping up with the seasons as well, keeping up with the flavors. I mess with it. All these bars are covered in incredible tasting chocolate and are soft and easy on the teeth to chew. These bars are low in calorie and sugar, but high in protein and fiber. A flavor I suggest is the peanut butter flavor, packed with 19 grams of protein, 180 calories, only 5 grams of sugar, and 5 grams net carbs. So go try the Built Bar. Go to BuiltBar.com and use promo code LOCK15 and you'll get 15% off your next order. Again, use promo code LOCK15 for 15% off at BuiltBar.com. Built Bar is also the official protein bar of the U.S. track and field team. Isn't that pretty cool? I think it is. So again, make sure you go check out Built Bar at Built.com and use promo code LOCK15. Built Bar, the best tasting protein bar ever. Then let me tell you a little bit about our next sponsor, BetOnline AG. Betting is now legal in Michigan, and the NBA season coming back, we're all back and better than ever. A new web interface for the start of the basketball season and more props, odds, and lines than ever before. BetOnline remains your number one spot for all the basketball and football action this season. Head to our new updated desktop and mobile website to sign up today and receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. And just use our promo code LOCKEDON to receive your bonus. From basketball to football to baseball's postseason, NHL, boxing, and UFC, right to your favorite Vegas casino games. Don't wait to take advantage of all the amazing offers available on BetOnline AG for this 2021 season. And like I've mentioned many times before, you can, if you don't want to bet on just sports, you can bet on things outside of sports, things I didn't even know you could bet on, such as like reality TV shows. It's crazy. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your favorite sports. BetOnline, where the game starts. So, like I said, we're going to preview the Pistons game tonight. What are my predictions for the game? What do I think is going to happen? If I had to take my guess, obviously, I think the Pistons are probably going to get destroyed tonight. I'm going to keep it a buck with you guys. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to try to be biased here or anything. I think the Pistons probably are going to get destroyed tonight. And again, before we continue any further, I want to thank all you guys who are still listening for making Locked On Pistons your first listen of every single day. We are free and available on all your podcast platforms as well as YouTube now. But anyways, like I said, my prediction is that the Pistons are probably going to get destroyed tonight. Definitely not having Cade is going to hurt them tremendously. And I would just expect and want the Pistons to keep this game close. Just be competitive, keep the game close, at least till the end of the game. If you end up getting blown out at the end of the game, then so be it. But I don't really think that you guys can expect them to beat the Chicago Bulls, the new look Chicago Bulls that have DeMar DeRozan, Lonzo Ball, Zach LaVine, Nikola Vucevic. Like all these guys, they're a really, really deep team. So I think the Bulls are probably going to win this one handedly. And definitely the loss of Cade, I think, is going to hurt in a different perspective or a different route, I should say. Defensively, they're really one of the guards are going to dominate the Pistons. One of them is going to have to do it because Killian's going to he's a nice defender, so he's going to be on one of them. Whoever he's not guarding is just going to tear the Pistons up. Cade would usually take that assignment, and from what we saw in Summer League, he's not an awful defender. All rookies are usually not good defenders. But you expect Cade to hold his own on defense based on what we saw and what we know of him. So while I'm not saying that Cade would be like some big impact defender and just like change the game kind of thing like that, I don't think he would be a slouch and he'd be able to hold his own against some of these guys. But if they start Frank Jackson, like who are you having Frank Jackson guard? Are you having Frank Jackson guard Lonzo or DeMar? Like who is he guarding? And whoever he's guarding is probably going to tear him up. To be honest, because they're just going to be bigger than him. The Bulls are really big across the lineup. And whoever Frank Jackson's guarding is probably going to take advantage of them. That's one. Two, if Killian Hayes is guarding, let's say Killian Hayes is guarding Lonzo, now Zach LaVine is legit just going to have a feast. He's just going to dominate whoever's in front of him. So I really think it's probably going to be a big night for one of the Chicago Bulls scoring guards. If you play fantasy basketball, I just did my fantasy draft today as I'm recording, or yesterday when I'm recording this. Right before I recorded, I did my draft. So if you have Lonzo, if you have Zach LaVine, if you have DeMar DeRozan, if you have any of those three guys, I'd start them. If you have two of them, I'd start both of them. Like I play any of the guards on the Bulls that you have, I just play them because I don't think the Pistons are able to hold them. And they don't have a great rim protector either. So I would expect, I think one of the guards, that's going to be my big prediction. I think one of the Bulls guards are going to go out there and just completely dominate. So you guys can hold me to that. We'll check back in tomorrow and see what happened in that game. But from a positive perspective, what I want to see from the Pistons, I'd like to see Killian Hayes make a few threes tonight. I'd like to see him shoot the ball. Actually, no, I take that back. Not even make a few threes. I'd like to see him continue to be aggressive like how he was in that one preseason game we were able to see him. He was extremely aggressive. He was looking for a shot. I hope we still see that from him. I want him searching for a shot. I want him taking open shots if he creates them, which he's been able to do. I want him trying to get to the basket. I want to see him try to draw free throws. That's what I want to see in this opening night game. Now, if he shoots 1 of 8, 1 of 9, I personally don't care right now. If he shoots 2 of 10, 3 of 11, something like that, I really don't care. I want to see him continue to be aggressive no matter what he's shooting, get to his spots. Because something you guys have continually heard me say about Killian Hayes, going all the way back to last season, is that he's able to create space. He's able to get these shots or get to these spots that he wants to get to. That's one of the reasons why I'm so high on him, because he shows the hard part of creating the space, breaking down a defender, and getting enough space to get off a shot that he wants. This is about him being able to, 1, being confident enough to take the shot, and then 2, obviously make it. The major problem last year, I feel like it was even more so than making it, was his confidence. He passed up a lot of these. So I'd like to see him tonight against the Bulls not pass up those opportunities, be aggressive, go for your shot, and take the open looks that you create for yourself. You do the hard work, take the shot. So that's what I'd like to see from him. Also, I'd like to see Saddiq Bey show us that little showing of playmaking that we saw in the preseason wasn't fluke and just for exhibition games. I'd like to see if that's something he's going to translate to the regular season. So that's one thing I'll be looking for with Saddiq Bey. I think a lot of you guys are probably going to be looking for Saddiq Bey for his scoring within the three-point line. He did flash a little bit of that in the preseason, but for me, like I've told you guys before, the bigger deal to me is what he does playmaking-wise, what he was doing when the defense came to him, or his processing speed that he showed looked like it was improved in the preseason. So that's what I want to say. I want to see if that's going to continue from preseason, if he's going to carry it over to regular season, if that's an actual improvement for him. I think that would be big. And then outside of that, I have 2 more things I'd like to see from the Pistons individually. I like to see Isaiah Stewart kind of continue to knock off the rust, get better, play better as the game goes on. He had a rough preseason, in my opinion. That was his first time playing 5-on-5, like he said, because of the ankle injury he dealt with in the offseason. The Pistons just have, as I continue to say, these ankle injuries. The Pistons have dealt with some really bad ankle injuries all summer. Like, my God, everyone's getting ankle injuries. But anyway, I'd like to see Isaiah Stewart knock off some of the rust, start to play better as the game goes on, and play within himself and look more comfortable out there. I didn't think he looked as comfortable out there in the preseason. So that's expected when you don't play a full summer of basketball, but I'd like to see him knock off some of that rust in this first game. And then lastly, I'd like to see Josh Jackson continue to play really well, continue to do the right things with the ball in your hands, continue to look calm when you're playing with a calming effect that we've seen from him in the preseason. If he's able to bring that, and that's something he's improved on, I think Josh has 6th man of the year potential. So I'd like to see that carry over to this first regular season game. Again, I'm not really worried about, like, if he has a bad night shooting wise, he's just missing shots. Like, I know Josh is gonna be able to score the ball. If he has a bad scoring night, he's gonna have a good scoring night probably the next game. That's not what I'm worried about. If he's having a bad scoring night, but he's doing the right things still, making the right decisions, opening up passing lanes for others and hitting guys in these passing lanes, playing great defense, etc., stuff like that, while having a bad scoring night, I won't care, because that will show legitimate improvement. Everyone has bad scoring nights. He'll have a good scoring night. He's a really good scorer. It's the other things that have kept him down throughout his career. So if he actually shows in this regular season game that those are things he's actually improved on, I'll be happy. Still, it would be 1 game sample size still. We still need to see it throughout the season. But those are 3 things that I'm really looking forward to seeing if they're going to be carried over straight from preseason to the first regular season game. So let me know what you guys are looking forward to tonight in the comment section down below on YouTube, or if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, let me know in the reviews down below as well what you guys are looking forward to from the Pistons' first regular season game. What's your guys' thoughts on Cade missing this opening game? Are you guys more worried than you guys were originally? Are you guys it sucks that he's not playing opening game, but I don't think it's that serious. Let me know what you guys' thoughts on that on it as well. And then outside of that, I'm all done here. You guys enjoy the game tonight. I know I'm going to enjoy the game. I'll tell you guys this much. I'm not going to the game. I know I was going to put you guys in the spot, make it seem like it was just a you guys' decision. Listen, I was also waiting to see, okay, I won't lie to you. I was also waiting to see if Cade was going to be in or out this game. I won't lie to you guys. I was also waiting. So once he was declared out, I'm not going. I'm not going. I had to tell my fiance, I told Megan, listen, we're not going. Sorry, we'll have to go to the next game whenever they come back to Detroit. Hopefully he's playing, and we'll go to that game. But I'm not going to opening night if Cade's not playing. I'm sorry. It just isn't happening. So, but still, I'll be in my living room watching. I hope all you guys are watching as well. So have a lot of fun tonight. Enjoy watching the team tonight. It's going to be a lot of fun. Pistons basketball is back. We are back. Make sure you stay tuned for the Locked On Nows that I do after the game, recapping the game, quick minute videos that I put on Twitter at Locked On Pistons. Stay tuned for that as well. But yeah, until next podcast, I'll see you guys later. Have a great day, everybody. Enjoy the game tonight and go Pistons. I'll catch you all later.